Hello, everyone. Happy Monday. Thank you for joining me today. I missed you guys last week. I had another engagement that I had to attend, so I could not be on here last week, but I definitely want to join in here today. So today I'm going to be talking about multifamily versus single family homes for like a first time home buyer. So, um, we are wrapping up the quarter of 2021. This year is flying by. And so, one of the things I have been working with a client, and this was kind of put it on my mind. I've been working with a client who has had mixed emotions. Should they buy a multifamily or should they buy a single family home? And I just wanted to kind of share some of those pros and cons with you guys if you are kind of toying between the two. So I definitely love the fact that, especially if you are a young person, meaning you're in your 20s and you're thinking about buying a home. And for a lot of people, when they're in their 20s, they don't have the extra baggage of, maybe you're not married yet with kids and multiple kids. And so what happens is when you start having more responsibility, you start to need a bigger home. So it's hard for you to use a like house hacking method is what we call it. So that house hacking method allows you to purchase like a multifamily home and live in one unit for at least a year and then rent the other units out. This is such a beautiful strategy because it allows you to go off and do or work on maybe another business that you want to work on while not having to worry about, is my mortgage or my rent going to be covered, because you have a tenant living in that home with you. So the more units, so anything that is 4 units or less is considered residential property. So you can buy up to 4 units and be able to live in one of those units and then rent out all of the other units in there. So when you're younger, most of those multifamily, it usually on average will have 2 bedrooms. Sometimes we'll see 3 bedrooms in those units, which would be great. But even if you do a 2 family or like a triplex or something like that, you are able to kind of do the same thing. So what happens is I hear this conversation kind of come up a lot, and the individual, when they're, it's scary trying to get into home ownership, and you're like, oh, it's like big responsibility and the maintenance and the upkeep. And so I often hear this, and I actually heard this from my client that we're looking for a place from her, and she's just kind of afraid. And she's like, well, what if the tenants don't pay the mortgage? What am I going to do? I'm just so afraid. I'm going to be a landlord. But at the same time, she is excited about the idea of having her first rental property. And so one of the things that I have to express, and I want to share with you guys, that if you purchase a single family home, you and only you are going to be responsible for the mortgage. If you buy a multifamily home, you have some relief in there because the tenant is going to be paying the rent. But if the tenant doesn't make the rent for a month or two while you're getting them out, you're going to put another tenant in there, and then they're going to start paying the rent on there. And so the point that I'll try to get across with all of this is, what difference does it really make at the end of the day? Being in that multifamily home is going to put you in a better position. It's going to allow you to be able to save more, allow you to kind of relax a little bit and not be on edge. So what I can guarantee is, if you buy a single family home, then you are going to be 100% responsible for the mortgage on there. If you buy a multifamily home, you have some relief. You have someone else that's going to be helping you relieve that because they're going to be paying their rent. So in the event that they miss a payment or two, that's still better. So if we go 12 months in a year, the tenant didn't pay 2 months, so you had to get them evicted. So you missed 2 months of rent. Even we'll say 3 months of rent. I would much rather only pay 3 months out of pocket than having to pay 12 months of rent over the course of the year. So I think that it's hard for people to really understand it. They get so caught up and a lot of fear is placed in them because you're listening to other people and you're like, you don't want to be a landlord, but you have to look at the bigger picture here. We're always thinking about long-term goals, long-term strategies, what's going to create passive income. And this is temporary. You're temporarily going to be living in this multifamily home for at least a year. And then after that, you can buy a single or you can potentially buy another multifamily home. It's totally up to you how you work that out. But you have to start thinking about it in a strategy. And then when you talk about the maintenance, so the maintenance piece of it also always comes up. You're like, well, what do I have maintenance I have to do? You're going to have potential maintenance on a single family home, and you're going to have potential maintenance on a multifamily home. The thing that you want to do is when you're house hunting, whether it's either single or multifamily home, you should be looking at the house. Number one, you should be having a home inspection done. The home inspector is going to come in. He's going to look from the foundation all the way to the attic of the home and provide you with a long report with pictures and everything you need to know about that home that will uncover some concerns or some things that may need to be addressed in the beginning of this contract with the current owner of the property. The other thing is when we go into a home, these houses, single or multifamily home, there's some major components on there. When we talk about the roof, we're looking at the driveway. The garage is always a big concern. Has the furnace been updated? The electrical, has that been updated? Looking at the windows, has the windows ever been updated in there? So if you're going to look out house shopping and you know your resources are limited, meaning you're not handing yourself, you would always have to call in a service person to assist you, or you don't have someone, a relative, dad, someone who can come over and assist you with repairs, that you always have to call a maintenance guy or something like that, then you definitely want to look at the property that puts you in the best position. If it has a new roof that roof is only, we'll say 5 years old. Well, a roof will last anywhere 25 to 30 years. So if the roof is 5 years old, then you're in good shape there. If the furnace has been updated recently, if the electrical panel has been updated on there, if we've removed all of the major components of what could go wrong in a home, that reduces your risk greatly on there or your out-of-pocket expense. But it doesn't matter. You should want to take that strategy, especially if you're a first-time home buyer, no matter if you're looking at a single family or a multifamily property. It's important for you to really understand the mechanics of the home when you go through and you're walking through there. We get caught up sometimes. I see a lot of buyers, they get caught up with all of the shiny things around it and not looking at the most important components of the house. The shiny things are, the contract, they updated the kitchen, they updated the bathrooms. But the kitchen and bathrooms, a lot of these things you can even update and do on your own. A little paint on cabinets, switching out hardware, replacing the hardwood, the flooring that's in your kitchen area. A lot of those things you can do on your own. The most important updates are going to be, did they update the furnace? Is it a newer roof? Has the driveway been replaced? Did they update those windows? We don't want all of your heat going out because of poor, bad quality windows in the home. So these are the things. So if you are on the edge or trying to just really decide, should you go multifamily or should you go single family home? I'm going to say especially if you're a single person or you have a small family size, I say at least sacrifice for the year, live in it. Now you have your first rental property. You get the hang of what it's like being a homeowner, kind of like what to expect. And then from there, you can decide, do you want to purchase another multifamily or then get your single family home? Just one house can help a lot of families and households become more stable, bringing in an extra $200, $300 a month, even though that sounds like a small amount. Sometimes that $300 can save you from having to get a second job to maybe pay down some debt or just put groceries on the table. You will much rather have that in place and do something like that than to have to be away from your family. If you're thinking about starting a small business, this is a way that you can do that too. If you can relieve the stress of having to pay your mortgage or paying your rent somewhere, or you don't have to come up with a full 12 months of rent or mortgage payments, and you only had to, put money away from savings and rainy days, and you want to pursue a career in being an actor or a songwriter or a singer or whatever that is, that where the money doesn't flow in as fast, then that's definitely something you want to have in place, is have a multifamily unit where you can have some additional relief on there and not having to live in an undesirable area or place. So I hope that gave you guys some good understanding of the single, what to look for, single versus multifamily home. If you would like more information, you can give me a call at 216-220-7886. Thank you for joining me this Monday. We are wrapping up first quarter, and if you have a real estate goal, please reach out. We want to help you achieve those goals here. Again, that number is 216-220-7886, and I look forward to speaking with you next time. All right. Have a good day, guys.